Welcome to the Wednesday night meeting of the Recovery Rooms. My name is Lucky. I'm a grateful recovered addict. I'd like to extend a special welcome to any newcomers or visitors from outside the area. This is a non-smoking and non-vaping venue. Can I now ask that everyone put their phones onto silent and not to use them during the meeting? For anyone who doesn't know, the toilets are through the double doors, first right down the bottom. The only requirement for any person to attend this meeting is to have a desire to stop using alcohol and all other mind-altering substances, including all troublesome addictions. The Recovery Room safeguarding policy, which everyone must adhere to, is that the meeting is a safe place for everyone and there is zero tolerance for harassment, any form of discrimination or predatory behaviour. Anyone who breaks the policy is not permitted to attend the meeting until they change their behaviour. The Recovery Rooms has only one sole purpose: to help alcoholics and addicts recover from the disease of addiction. The Recovery Rooms has its primary piece of literature, which is the Recovery Rooms Guide to Recovery, which lays out a 10-point plan of action on how to recover one day at a time. A lot of people in the Recovery Rooms have decided to work through the 10-point plan with a sponsor, who is simply an addict, who is clean and sober and has been through the work themselves. The suggested action plan of recovery is based on a spiritual solution to the disease of addiction. The Recovery Rooms has no opinions on outside issues. We do not engage in controversy and we neither endorse nor oppose any causes. This is a speaker meeting. Each week, a guest speaker is invited to come along and share their experience, strength and hope with us for about 20 to 25 minutes. And this week, we're lucky that... Dave, thanks, Dave. Sorry, Dave, that's terrible. Sorry, I forgot. Come along to share with us. So it's over to you, Dave.
Right, well, thank you, Lucky. Right, well, I'm Dave. I'm an alcoholic addict.
Dave.
And, well, I'm here to share my story, I suppose, and I'll go from the start. When I was born, the first place you went was a pub, Primrose. It was literally next to the hospital. That's where you was taken. So I was born into a pub. My dad ran a pub. My mum was an alcoholic. It was pretty inevitable. They say it's in the genes. You can have the best upbringing or the worst, yeah? Now, I had a good upbringing. Everything was provided for me, but all I saw around me was alcohol, drugs. And I thought, well, why not? Do you know what I mean? Started drinking my mum's vodka. Started smoking with my brother. Started thieving off my nan and granddad, taking money off them, robbing my mum's purse to get whatever I could get. Started doing acid, started doing ecstasy, not in a raving scene at all. This was just in the street, yeah? Getting a bottle of Thunderbirds, getting a bottle of, was it the old MD 2020 or something? I thought it was called Mad Dog. Yeah, but it's called Morgan something apparently now, I found out. But yeah, them were the days. You drunk to block out going home. Well, I did anyway. I didn't want to go home. 9 times out of 10, I got taken home by the police and taken to a friend's house because my mum was an alcoholic, wouldn't let me in. And I think it's just inevitable. I was going to become a drinker. And then... well, started drinking quite a bit. Up until the age of 16, started working. All my mates on the work van smoked, drunk. Went on from there. It's hard to explain, like, how much I drank for 30 years. Now, I hear people's stories about them losing their kids, this, that, the other. I was an alcoholic. My missus kicked me out, said, take your son with you. I brought him up till he was 10, yeah? I was doing cocaine, I was doing everything. But I provided for him. I had a job, done everything I needed to do, never owed anyone any money, I still won't to this day. I've paid for my own habit, yeah? I could afford to do 8 for Coke for breakfast, bruv, yeah? That was mine. It weren't no one else's, it was mine. I'd do what I wanted. I go out and spend money on this, go out and spend money on that, buy my son PlayStation 5 as soon as it comes out, the latest games, God knows what. And then, boom, raging cokehead, fell down the stairs, collapsed my lung, ended up in hospital, blah, blah, blah. Came out of hospital weighing 6.5 stone. My friend who's in recovery as well looked after me for 6 months, but he started drinking again with his girlfriend. Then I started drinking again. And then I started drinking more and more. And I was drinking 20 cans a day. I was going to my mates in the morning. He used to take me up to Aldi, and that was all I was doing all day. Go to Aldi, get 8 beers, get my dinner, go home, Uber 15 cans, drink them, wouldn't go to bed till they were drunk, yeah? I had all problems with my bowel and stuff, cameras up my arse, fingers up my bum, and God knows what. By doctors, this is, yeah. 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 And I won't tell you who done it, right? Yeah. But yeah, and then kept seeing the doctor. Was told that the specialist wouldn't see me because I refused to give up smoking. My blood pressure was 210 over 130. They sent me home with blood pressure pills. 3 days later, I collapsed. My bowel burst, rotted my stomach away from drinking alcohol because I was drinking 20 cans, eating my dinner about 10, 11 o'clock at night, going to sleep, waking up 3 in the morning, throwing up, getting up in the morning, excuse the pissing out my arse for however long. And then one morning I've woke up and I actually didn't drink all my beers. It's like, sweet, got a beer next to me. 7:30 in the morning, bang, hit the floor, yeah? Phoned an ambulance, 4 to 8 hours. She said, I suggest you get here now. I'm like, well, why don't you send me an ambulance then? Well, we can't. So my mate along the road, and I'll make that one quick, but he's a drinker anyway. So at his house till 2 in the morning. And then I rang him at 7:30. Luckily, he answered, and I said, I need to get to the hospital, bruv. Got there within half an hour. I'm in surgery, having my bowel removed, half my stomach removed because I've rotted it away with alcohol, yeah? Now, if there's ever a thing to not drink, that is it. And then I woke up with this bag on my belly. And I've had to deal with that. I've been depressed indoors for a year. My dad died during that time. He didn't start drinking, yeah? I'm so proud of myself for that. I didn't do nothing, yeah? My fix is smoking roll-ups, man. I cannot stop smoking roll-ups. I'm like, yeah? But this book and this programme, yeah, has got to be followed, yeah? If you want to recover, you've got to come to these meetings and you've got to keep coming back, yeah? And I'm going to do it, yeah? And I'm on this planet to help people. All I do all day is help people, yeah? I was listening to the Beatles the other day, and I can't think what song it is, but something about, I've got all you want, I've got all you need, yeah? And that's me. Ring me. If you're in need, ring me. I can't think what the song is now. I was singing it the other day. That's me. All I do is help people. No one's helped me all my life, yeah? No one's going to... Here you go. Here's a life. Here's a car. Here's a job. Here's this. Here's that, yeah? And I'm watching all these people around me just smoking crack, wanting another bag, wanting a bit more beers. And I'm trying, man. Do you know what I mean? I've got so many good friends. And my bestest mate is destroying himself, and I can't sleep. Yeah, I've lost weight because of my friend. I've got a ring on my finger here, yeah? He's my husband. He's not really, but I wear that on there because it's the only finger it fits on. I'm not actually married, but we're like a married old couple, and all I do is whinge around at him. And he's like, my missus keeps telling me the same thing. He's just lost his job. He's just lost his family. He's lost everything. But where's rock bottom? Where's rock bottom, Lucky? How'd you get rock bottom? Where is it? It's death. And I ain't putting him in a box. My mate's got a tattoo of my brother. Yeah, my brother died at 43. And he's got a United tattoo with his name and his date of birth and the day he died. And he's going to put all our mates underneath it. And I don't want him to be next. I know I'm not going to be next. Yeah? I've got 55 years left on this planet. Yeah? I'm getting one of them fucking things off of King George, yeah? Be King George by then, wouldn't it? Yeah? But the moral of it is just keep coming back to these rooms, yeah? And I meet some blinding people. I'll go to meetings like in various places. So I'm going to be starting to go to some down like Awood's Eve way soon and that to help someone else that I know in recovery who's too scared to go to meetings. And I will do that. I'll drive 100 miles, just take her to a meeting. No worries. And I'll do that. I'll do that for anyone. And if anyone needs any help, needs anything, take my number, give me a ring. Yeah? And if you want cheering up, man, I will cheer you up. I'll cheer everybody up. Whenever I talk to them, I'm like, look, man, I told you, bruv, you've been depressed for however long. Ring me. Stop drinking. Yeah? Stop doing drugs. Stop asking me to borrow money because you ain't getting it no more, bruv. Yeah? I've fed these people for too long. Yeah? I've sold them drugs for years. And now I'm not doing it. They're all like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? They've been like that for 3 years. Now, because I've pulled my head out my arse and I've got a car, I'm driving about, I've got my son with me, getting him to work, doing this, doing that, yeah? They're like, it's not me anymore. I walk through the town. I can't go in a pub and someone don't know me. I get beef in most pubs because they think I'm going in there on their turf. Because everybody knows me. And I'm done with it, yeah? I want this. This is me now. Sitting here, telling people, well, I can't tell you what to do, yeah? The book can guide you, yeah? This can guide you, yeah? I can't tell you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But if you follow it, yeah, and you live it, and you follow it properly, then life will be good, man. My life is brilliant. It's awesome. I love it. I get in the car in the morning, yeah? I drive to St Mary's Bay, 7 o'clock in the morning. I go and get a free ice cream on my way from Sandgate because I used to be a barrow boy. And I was the first person she ever see clean the glass out the sandpit. And she said, come and see me for a free ice cream, love. Yeah, and when I finished that job, she said, come back, you got free ice cream for life. But she's not open at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. So we're going to have to start going a bit later, I think. But, yeah. But, yeah, the moral is, just keep coming back to these rooms, yeah? And the people like Lucky, people, all of you, like, I'm looking around. Some of you I've met before and stuff, yeah? And you'll see me again, and I'll see you again. Just follow it, and you will get there, and you will have a good life. All of you. Yeah, there's so much to live for. I know there's war going on, and this going on, and that going on. Just do what you're doing, yeah? So just crack on. And, yeah, thank you.
All
Cheers,
right,
Lucky.
thanks very much. Okay, we'll now open up the meeting for general sharing. Come and share back where you are today. That'd be great. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Lucky. I'm Mac. I'm an alcoholic and an addict. Yeah, thanks for your share, Dave. Really good to hear you. Really good to be at a meeting. Yeah, just want to open my mouth, really. Connect with a meeting, you know. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned about your, you know, your family, the drink involved in your family, you know, going to a pub when you're very young and all that. I remember my granddad, God bless his soul, he used to sit me on his knee. And I remember I used to make his own wine. He was a gambler and that. And he was an alcoholic. And he used to give me a little sip of whiskey or whatever. And it made me feel grown up. I mean, I was very young, probably about 7, something like that. I don't think I got the effects from it, but I knew that and smoking cigarettes and all that kind of thing would make me feel like a man, you know. Yeah, I mean, I got into it, you know, quite heavily in the end. And yeah, I mean, like you said about your health and that, you know, what the drink caused you. It caused me a lot of problems, you know, like I've shared in other meetings. It caused me cirrhosis of the liver, you know. So I know I can't drink, you know. I've tried everything, you know, for years, you know, different. Obviously, the rehabs have helped, the detoxes have helped, you know, the counselling's helped, you know. It's all helped, but this is the only thing that works for me, you know. These 10 points, you know, and yeah, I mean, things have been really difficult for my addiction, you know, and you know, like what's been shared before, really, it takes everything from you in the end, you know, your self-respect, your dignity, you know, your health, you know, yeah, it splits families apart, you know, it's a family illness, you know, and other people suffer, you know, and you know, like what I've heard in these rooms, you know, it's given me peace of mind, this program, you know, because I stole a lot of people's peace of mind, you know, when I was out there and they was worrying whether I was going to live or die, you know, whether I was going to come back that night or whether I'd disappear for days on end, you know, and I'm not doing them sort of things today, you know, and it's all thanks to this 10-point program, you know, and yeah, I'm just really glad to be at a meeting. You know, it's good to open my mouth and to be around other people that got the desire to stop, you know, and it always gives me hope hearing people like yourself, you know, that it's possible. And yeah, I'll keep coming to these meetings, you know, I'll keep coming. And yeah, I just thought something you said about song, but I remember when on one of my attempts of recovery, I remember watching a film, and it was a cartoon. It was at the pictures, you know, and sometimes the higher power speaks in different ways. And what was said is it was a character, you know, like a cartoon character, and it said, "It's never too late to do the right thing," you know. And I welled up with that, you know. It touched me, you know. And it could be in the words of a song, you know. It could be a sign, you know, like on a signpost or something like that, or on a train. And another one, when I left a detox in London, in City Roads, years ago, when I left, I could hear two people talking on the mobile phone. And I mean, I'd given them all my medication when I went in there, and I was still banging on the door trying to get my medication box back. You know, little did I know they weren't going to give it to me, you know, because I'd been in a detox. And when it was near King's Cross Station, and what I heard was, it starts with the first step. That's what I heard, you know. And I distinctly heard that in my and I thought, you know, all these little things that have happened, you know, I could go on and on, to be honest. I believe that no one comes to these rooms for no reason. I believe we're all guided here, you know. Normal people don't sit around wondering whether they're alcoholics or addicts. It just don't enter their head, you know. So, yeah, I'm just really blessed to be here. And, yeah, I'll keep coming. And thank you for your share. And thank you for everyone keeping me clean and sober today. I'll leave it there.
John, addict.
Hello, John.
John, yeah, I really appreciate that, Dave. Powerlessness there, mate, wasn't it? You know, the amount of times I hear in here, yeah, you know, if I have one more drink, I'm going to die. If I have one more drink, I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to walk out that door even if my son or my daughter's hanging onto my ankle and they're not stopping me. I mean, I'm stepping on them if I do. That's powerlessness. You know, I didn't know what that meant. You know, that's hard to take. You know, I struggled. I tell you when I struggled, I realised now that in my recovery is when the drugs stopped working. Oh, mate, what a night that was. Probably the worst night of my life. You know, gradually, you know, but as soon as it hit home, you know, once they stopped working, that I was left in my head while I was using, oh, mate, carnage. Because it's you know, this disease, it's not just one addiction. You know, how can I describe addiction? A friend of mine said, well, why can't you have a pint? I said, oh, I can have a pint of beer. I said, I can't put that down, though. If I pick up a beer, I phone the dealer because I need the cocaine. I go to the shop, bearing in mind I haven't smoked for X amount of years, and buy 40 cigarettes. And then I need money to put in my bank account because I need to gamble. So, you know, this illness is tenfold. It's a domino effect. You know, so, you know, whether it's alcohol, cocaine, or women, or betting, well, it is. The minute I pick up that one drink, my first disease is that I cannot put it down. Yeah. But then it's literally a domino effect. You know, and I can't stop. You know, and that's something I didn't realise I had. You know, I'm grateful that I have an illness because I kind of get to understand what's wrong with me. You know, and this program and this book here, the recovery book, my sponsor calls it. It's like a manual. It's designed for living. You know, because some of my friends outside the recovery rooms who aren't addicts, I believe, probably need this book sometimes as well. You know, but they're not. You know. They're not lucky like myself. I'm lucky to be an addict because I've identified what my exactly problem is. I mean, it's been shared before. Someone shared earlier, you know, and last meeting and everything. And like, other people can have just one drink, you know, or I heard the other day that someone said they put the cork back in their wine bottle. Do you know what I mean? I used to have a friend. He used to buy half a gram. He used to have a couple of lines, and he said, "I'll save that for next Friday." And I was like, you know. And I used to, you know what I used to say? I used to say they were mental. I used to say there's something, but I'd go to other people. You know, like I'd go, "There's something wrong with them," because of the way they're used. I used to actually, you know, my Mr. Ego. I used to tell everyone else loud and proud, "There's something wrong with them." I mean, they've gone home. You know, and that's exactly the same reason as well. When we got back to that story, my two friends, the next day I saw them both, you know, and I said, great night last night. I said, what did you both do? They said, well, we got to 10:30, you know, and like one of the wives came and picked us up and we went home. I was like, wow, what's that like? You know, and they understood and they generally meant, I said, what is that like? Going out and then going home, you know, when you're meant to. You know, I said, they was out, and I know they would be outside the pub at 10:30. Now, there's nobody, like, first thing already, because I'm an addict, I've got rebellious thinking. As soon as someone says, right, I'm picking you up tonight at 10:30, I'm like, all night. I'm not making 10:30. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to drink more than that. Do you know what, barman? A couple of shots, please. Yeah. Because now my head's telling me, you need to rebel against that. Someone just told you got to do it. You know, my head doesn't like to be told anything. You know, and anything. Even if it helps me, you know, or I agree with it. As soon as someone says, well, what you need to do is, I'm like, well, wait a minute. I mean, who are you talking to? You know what I mean? I'm in a battle then. I want to get out here and I want to go I'll show them. Nobody else around be interested, you know. You know, my head's thinking, I'll show them, my mates, I'll show them, telling me I've got to be home at this time of night. They don't care. Do you know what I mean? But I'm now having an internal row, you know, battle with my own head. You know, and that's where it leads to. What came into this room is, the recovery room, then I walked into the recovery room and spoke to another addict. One of the main things that got me straight away they said, we've got some advice for you and some guidance. You know, we can show you. None of this, what you need to do. You need to do this. Now do as you're told. You don't like that. I was like, well, you know, people said, look, you have a problem. You know, and they've proof in here. People that are sharing these rooms, the people that are sharing, they had proof, they had evidence. You know what I mean? They wasn't sitting there going, you know, what I do is, and then they clear off. The people, you know, these people in the recovery rooms with long-term sobriety, it's what got me in the rooms. And that's why I stay for. That's why I work hard at it. And that's why I'll come to the recovery rooms, to pass that message on to those who came after me. Because, you know, it's a revolving door. You know, but that revolving door shut behind me and I stayed. You know, for them guys and girls, they had the evidence. You know, it is one day at a time, the programme, but, you know, and that got me through it, and it gets me through it, you know, to my thinking, and I always say that to the newcomers' responses, but I do aim for long-term sobriety as well. You know, and then, you know, when people, and I know some of them people in the rooms, you know, and even if I don't know them, I know by the way they're talking, that they were like me. And I'm like, you know, I thought I was the only one. When I used and I was in active addiction, my ego would tell me, and there's a lot of evidence really, there's not many people that used or drank like me. You know, even my friends were like, and I used to play on that, I used to love that ego, because, you know, but I used to play on it, and I used to go, I wouldn't go out with him, mate. Seriously, you know what I mean? Seriously, I wouldn't use with him. I wouldn't drink with him. You know, he's not normal. And I think, I came in here and I started giving out the old war stories, you know, telling them I used to do this, that. People just go, yeah, I know. I'm like, fucking hell. I mean, I've done worse. You know, they bring you down. They deflate the ego straight away. But they're not doing it in an egotistical way. They're doing it just to say that for identification. And then I'd listen to someone else and go, my God, man, they're worse than me. And they got it. And I think that's, you know, I want some of that because they're peaceful, you know, and they're rational. And, you know, and that's something, you know, I always thought in life, you know, they always talk about rocket into the fourth dimension, yeah? I never understood what that meant. But I think my thinking, and my problem was my thinking, is I always thought life was rocket into the fourth dimension, because I always thought, every time I'd done something in life, like if I done a drug or done a drink, I was thinking, what's next? When I got a job, I was like, what's next? So, I mean, I always think my problem was I wanted to be rocketed into the fourth dimension my whole life. I always wanted, you know, to strive for more. Do you know what I mean? Oh, I've just got my newborn son. We've just moved into a house. As soon as we got in there and shut the door, it's like, what's next then? What is next? You know, that is the fourth dimension. And I came in here, that feeling the rocket fourth dimension, all it is, it's grounded me. If anything, it's brought me back down to earth. It's like, you know, it's hard to explain, but it's like it's had the reverse effect. It's brought me down to earth because someone told me there's no end game in here. You don't get a gold medal or a certificate for coming first. You know, but I needed to hear that. You know, and I will end it here. I remember my sponsor, and the guy, his sponsor, he was about 12 years clean, and he said to me, all you need to do, he said, to go for the 10-point plan, pick up the recovery book, do the suggestions I give you, And I went, okay. And I said, what else? He went, there's nothing else. And I was like, come on. Good game, because I'm like, it's got to be more. And he went, there's not. And do you know what? There isn't. Yes, your recovery grows. Yes, it branches off in different directions. It's evolved mine so many times over the years, but it gets better and better. You know what I mean? And it was given to me free by another fellows in these rooms. And why would I not stay and give that to other people? Because that's where my 10-point program and this book works. It works. Yes, I work on myself every day, but my God, when I get to help someone else, that's what rockets me now to the fourth dimension. I always thank them. I get sponsored. They go, "That's amazing. Thank you for that." I'm like, "No, thank you. Stay. Don't go." You know what I mean? 10 minutes before, I was like, "Oh, mate, what's he on?" I was watching The Chase. I can't even. You know what I mean? I don't need to tell you something in the background.
Always chasing something.
It was the Chase. What do they want? As soon as they were in there, I say, I know exactly what they want. They want what I got because I went to someone and I got what they gave me. You know what I mean? So you're an example sitting up there today. All you need to do is tell your story, and it just told us, where you're at the moment. Yeah, and I can tell if you just stick to what you're doing, things will get even better for you, mate. So well done, Fred.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, I'm Mickey. I'm an addict. Lockie, thanks for taking the meeting. And Dave, really appreciate your chair. Yeah, really enjoyed it. It's kind of ironic. We come here because we have issues with all the, there's a spectrum of drugs, isn't there? Crack cocaine, heroin, powder cocaine. There's a long list. And, you more or less spoke mainly about alcohol, and it never ceases to amaze me the irony of the fact that the drug that causes most of the carnage in this country and costs the most money is alcohol, the one that's legal, and someone shared at a meeting I was at recently about how their cannabis use or their puff use probably kept them away from alcohol, and I really kind of homed in on that because that was definitely my experience. I absolutely adore weed. It was my first addiction. And to be honest, as stupid as it might sound, I look back and I'm glad, because if I hadn't had that, I probably would have drank more. Weed allowed me to drive my car. I'm not one of those people that smokes a joint and lies down. I will smoke a spliff at 7:30 in the morning on the tube platform on the way to work. I will go to work. I will work harder than everybody else. I'm not blowing smoke up my own backside. It's just how I operate. I will go to work. I'll drive my car. I'll drive a 7.5-ton lorry as part of my job if I need to, smoking a spliff out the window. And the police will pull me over now and again, and it's all shits and giggles because I'm not drinking and I can blow in the bag and I'm not, I'm off that era, and I loved it, And the thing is, I've got a friend who's not in recovery. He's from back in the day, and he's probably the one person I know who's got the most issues. He's like you, and I appreciate your honesty and your courage to share that, because that's so important in these rooms that people share stuff like that, because that helps people like you wouldn't believe. It helps me to realise what could have happened to me, what will happen to me if I ever drink and use again. And like I was sort of speaking about a second ago, the one friend I've got, he's not in the rooms or anything. He's got the same issue that you've got. He's a drinker. So at some point in our childhood, our young youth or whatever, he stopped smoking weed, became more, we could see it, became more and more of a drinker, turned away from Class A drugs, just alcohol became his drug of no choice, and he's the one who ended up with issues with his kidney and his liver and his stomach, and there, but for the grace of God go I, and my life wasn't without its problems, but as yet they haven't manifested physically. It was mainly emotional problems for me, stress, living in that mindset, and, it's just horrid, isn't it? Living in addiction is that, I've often shared, you wouldn't wish it on your worst enemy, would you? And that's just the thought process, let alone the crap that goes with it, and that fucking way of living where you're constantly striving to get the money, to score, to hide it, to lie, to cheat, to duck, to dive. It's tiring. You know, and you hear people in these meetings, and I completely relate to it. Like, why did you come in? I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And that was how my life was when I came in. I had loads more years using left in me when I came in, but I was just sick and tired of it. I needed to find a new way to live, you know, because it's not living. Because all you do is let people down. The people you care about the most, ironically, you know, and all the idiots that don't give a shit about you, you treat them like a king. It's like you meet the drug dealer, it's like he's your best friend and he's just giving you, it's just pathetic, you know, it's pathetic. Yeah, you don't get to be a man, or, I mean, I don't mean to be sexist in saying that, but you know what I mean? You don't get to be a kind of an upstanding human being, you know, you treat the drug dealer like, you know, all your birthdays have come at once, and then you go home and you lie to your missus and you treat her like a piece of shit, basically, you know? And then we wonder why we're unhappy and we have no ease in ourselves when we kind of find recovery, you know. But thankfully, as a result of this stuff, and I share it all the time, I find it very easy to share a positive message because, you know, putting the drink and the drugs down that's the first thing. But then on the back of it, you get to live this life where you're not cheating and lying and stealing anymore. You're treating the people you care about with respect. I mean, that's a new one, isn't it? You know, so you get the respect back. It's that karma thing, you know what I mean? It's just a new way of living. And someone shared it earlier, designed for living. That's exactly what it is. You know, when I found myself in my first meeting at 40 years old, I realised I probably had the mental capacity of a 5-year-old child. And that's not an exaggeration. That's the truth. The way I live, the way I lie, the way I bullshit people, lie to people. They know I'm lying, but I lie anyway because I have to get what I have to get. You know, and today I don't live like that. I actually live like I'm probably on about 16 years old at the minute, so I'm still working on myself, you know. But I'm getting there, you know. But I do. But you know, and it's all from doing this stuff. That's why I'm so glad I found it, and like I shared before, you know, at a meeting previously, you know, it's why I find it very easy to continue working this program. And like I said a second ago, very easy to share a positive message, acknowledged, Lucky, because I get to live the life. I used to fantasize about living a kind of a life like this. I used to, when I was back drinking and using, I used to fantasize. And like John said, you know, I used to look at friends of mine who could drink and use normally. I used to fucking wanker. And I'd say, what's wrong with him? Actually, the truth is I was jealous. I was jealous as fuck that I couldn't get a gram on a Friday, use half of it, put the other half away for the Saturday. It used to annoy me, and then of course I would slag them off because I'm a 5-year-old child up here. So if I don't understand it, and if you've got something I want, then there's something wrong with you, because there couldn't be anything wrong with me, obviously. But you know, like I said, you know, I don't live by that moral code anymore. You know, I live a very different life today, and I enjoy it. I enjoy being a normal human being, whatever that is. You know, and I don't always get it right, but whatever I do right or wrong, I know I'm living a more normal life than I did 9.5 years ago. There's no comparison. It's day and fucking night, Dave. Do you know what I mean? There is no comparison. And I look forward to the next 9 years if I've got it in me. I don't know. I don't take it for granted. It's a day at a time, like people have shared. And, you know, I just strive to get my head on the pillow tonight without drinking and using. I think I'll be all right, probably. And then tomorrow I'll wake up and I'll do it all again. But yeah, really, really like your share. There was power in it, mate. And I appreciate, like I said, you know, I don't mean to repeat myself, but I really appreciate the courage you showed to share that deep, dark, unpleasant stuff. Yeah, it's very important and it means a lot. So thank you. Cheers, guys.
My name's Bert. I'm an alcoholic. Good to be at a meeting. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for what you said. And yeah, it reminded me of what happened to me as well. I mean, I didn't go to the depths you went to. I didn't have that serious physical stuff going on, but I had the beginnings of it. That's what it reminded me of. Because I was trying to think, did that happen to me? I thought, well, no, I did have a problem years ago, but that happened before I started drinking, so it wasn't drinking. But then years later, I remember I was drinking and I couldn't handle not drinking. I'd have like, I suppose it was withdrawal, mental withdrawal. I didn't know that at the time, but I'd just go into a heavy depression. And this heavy depression would recur over and over again. I was a binge drinker. And so I'd binge drink, have a rest, go through the depression, get kind of okay, go to the gym, work out a little bit, and then binge drink again when I got the feelings back that I didn't like for the reason, So, and then it went like that. But then I just couldn't handle the depression any longer. So I went to the GP, and I didn't know it was depression. I didn't really know what it was. Well, someone said it was depression. But anyway, so I went to the GP and they gave me some pills. And I thought, okay, I'll take I didn't want to take them because I didn't want to get hooked on pills, because I wasn't like that. I didn't want to be like, I knew people on loads of pills. I've got a sister, she takes 10 a day. You know, I don't want to be like that, you know. And so, but I couldn't stop drinking either. And I didn't know, and I couldn't handle this head. So I started taking the pills properly, because actually that was about a 10-year period. And I remember the first time the GP said, take the pills, and I didn't take them for 10 years because I didn't believe in it. I didn't believe in the GP much either, because he didn't really go into much detail. He just said, almost just saying I'm having a bad day. And as soon as I said that, he wrote the prescription straight away. And so I just thought GPs, I couldn't trust GPs. So I never really trusted GPs. Anyway, but I did take the medication, actually, because I'd run out of ideas. I took the medication, but I had to carry on drinking. And the beginnings of it sounds like, because when I realised what happened was, because the alcohol kind of stopped working as well. That was another thing. It didn't do what it used to. But when I took the medication and the alcohol was much better. I got a better hit off it. And I thought, fucking hell, this is good. The depression's gone. I'm not depressed whilst I'm drinking. I can drink more. So I drank more on top of the pills. And then I had a fucking problem. Excuse my French. I had a problem because blood started coming from a place I didn't want it to come from. And I was upset. I thought, shit, what am I going to do? I can't give up the pills. I can't give up drink. And I don't know what happened, because that was quite a long time before I came in, got any help. I mean, about that time, I would go back to the GP and say, right, I got to sort. I've got this problem. And they sent me to a place called Mount Zion up the hill. I went to this clinic once a month. They said, try not drinking for 3 weeks. And I go, okay. So I'd do 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, and go back. And they said, okay. Have you had a drink? And I say, well, yeah, but just yesterday I did 2 weeks. And that went on and on and on. And then I left it, and I thought, oh, damn, I've got to get honest with these people. I didn't want to get honest because I was scared. I was scared of what they thought, again, scared of what people thought of me. And that is a big thing. That's always been my story. I'm just scared of what people think of me. That has caused me a lot of problems. And it's not bad. I haven't done real bad stuff. I've done some bad stuff, but that's not really what I'm really ashamed of. It's actually the stuff that's not so bad that I'm ashamed of. Yeah, but so anyway, eventually that place shut down. It shut down. I thought, now I'm fucked. I've got nowhere to go. You know, because I kind of depended on it. I thought, I can do 2 weeks. I can go and talk to someone. I can get 2 weeks without drinking. Now I can binge drink, and I'm still binge drinking 2 or 3 days. It wasn't much of a heavy drinker. I did, but you know, I don't know, because I like pubs, you know, and I still got the buzz of going around pubs, you know, maybe just having a half. You could always tell an alky in a pub, they drank halves, because they were lonely like me trying to find someone. So they couldn't stay for a pint, because if there was no one in, you have to gulp the fucking pint down, and you were pissed. You had to go around and fight. It was a sad fucking existence at a time. Like, yeah. So it was half a lager. Back to the next one. Half a lager. No, so it's halves, and it got expensive, and it went on for a bit. So yeah. What happened? This clinic was going to shut down, Mount Zion. They wouldn't. Everyone did groups there. Everyone did groups, but they wouldn't put me in a group. They said I wasn't sane enough. They said I was. They couldn't trust me in a group. I didn't want to go in a group because I knew, again, it was sharing openly about me, and I was scared of what people thought about me. I didn't want to share. I didn't mind sharing it one person, but then I still didn't share that one, trust that one person either. So, anyway, I was quite lucky. there was a couple of weird, I don't know if they were high power moments, but they were quite unusual. That closed. There was another place opening up. They didn't tell me about it, but I didn't know. But it didn't open straight after. Otherwise, I would have carried on doing that because drinking was still working. It wasn't doing what it used to, but it was still working. And the fear of getting honest was too much. I could not get on it. I knew at some point in my recovery, I don't know why, I wasn't even doing the 10 points. I knew I'd have to get honest, and there was no way I was getting honest. I knew part of recovery or getting better was getting honest. I knew that. And I didn't know what point it was. I just knew it. And that wasn't happening. It was not happening. I'm telling you, I'd rather die. I'd rather die than be honest. And true, because I was scared so much about what you thought about me. Anyway, so what did I do? I thought, luckily enough, I got a pisshead for a sister, right? And she said, "You know Bill?" She said, "Yeah." I go, "Bill, who's Bill? I had my old boyfriend years ago. Sorry. I just got to say this. Sorry, I just got to say this." She goes, the 10 points worked for Bill. Try the 10-point meetings. So I went to a meeting, and that's it begun there, basically. I've lost it a bit there, but so I kept going back, kept coming back. Oh yeah, that's it. The woman at the clinic was in the meeting. I was like, and it did me nut. It did me nut. What's she doing here? But what did me nut? I've not seen her since. She was at one meeting. I've not seen her since. This was the unusual bit because she was at the meeting. She was at the meeting. I've been going to meetings 15 years. Not seen another one. And she's sharing about God and all that. I'm like, hang on, and then anyway, there's a few other things as well, but I'll leave it there. Cheers. I've had too much caffeine, I think, but yeah. Thanks. Okay. Thanks.
Hi everyone, I'm Holly, I'm an addict.
Hi Holly.
Do you know what? Too much caffeine, we've got to get high on something, couldn't we, lately? When someone tells us no, we're like, no, in my time. Oh, we'll finish talking. Yeah, but that's just what's wrong with us, isn't it? Like, one of the many things. Anyway, I'm glad to be here tonight. What a day I've had. Do you know what? My head told me not to share. My head told me not to come here tonight. It's Wednesday night, it's a weeknight, I've got work in the morning. I won't come to a bloody meeting. That's what my head tells me. But thanks to this beautiful 10-point programme, you know, I've been restored to like some kind of, don't know what you'd call it. I'm mentally, spiritually well now. Like, you know, I can see that it's my illness telling me you don't need to go to a meeting tonight. You don't want to share. So when my head tells me don't share, I know I need to open my mouth and share. My head tells me, no, you're tired. You don't need to go to the meeting tonight. Of course I do. Of course I do. So I know not to believe that liar in my head. I'm really glad to be here tonight. Yeah, I'm just in one of those moods. But do you know what? It's great. I can be honest and I can share how I feel without judgment. And this is my safe place. And yeah, anywhere in the world that I am, like whenever, if I need a meeting, wherever I am, I always go to a meeting, whatever meeting it is, whether it's new with new people, whether I've been there before, whether I haven't, I always feel like I'm home. So I'm driving here, not even wanting to come here tonight. You know, the illness is talking away to me. But again, it's not about what I think or what I know, is it? It's about what I do. I've got to get my ass through the door and get to that meeting tonight. And I've done it. And do you know what? The moment I walked in, grabbed myself a cup of tea, like have a vape, chat to people, you know, like a lovely bit of unity before the meeting and that. It's fine. And I'm like, what the hell was all that about earlier when I was driving down here, not wanting to come here? I love being here. But that's just something else that I suffer from. And I'm clean and sober and I still suffer from a thinking problem and shit like that today. But that's what we have to deal with. That's what we live with on a daily basis. That's like, another bit after getting clean and sober. It's the days after that, the weeks, the months, the years after that. Like living life on life's terms, having a stressful day and being able to know that when my head tells me don't go to a meeting, I know that I need to get to a meeting because, I'll miss one and then I'll miss another and then I'll miss a phone call with my sponsor. And you know what? Thanks to all the people that come before me, when I come into meetings and I sat here and I listened to people saying, oh, and then I got a new job and then that took over and then recovery went out the window. If my recovery goes out the window, I'm dying. If recovery goes out the window, I go into a coffin. That's the long and short for me. So just for anyone who's new, welcome to anyone who's new here tonight as well. It might seem like it's a really hard job, but do you know what? Drinking and using is the hard job. Living a beautiful, and do you know what? I have had a beautiful day. I've never had a bad day in recovery. I'm just tired tonight. I've had a long day tonight. I had a problem with my car earlier. And it's just been one of them days. But do you know what? Like, I wouldn't even have a car if it weren't thanks to this programme, if I wasn't in recovery. I wouldn't have a car. I wouldn't have a life. I wouldn't have people here that love me and care about me. I wouldn't have anyone that I could talk to. I wouldn't have a safe place where I can go and offload and share my shit. When I'm saying, you know, I'm tired and I didn't want to come here tonight. I've got to speak my truth. And we've talked about honesty here tonight. We've got to be honest. I've got to be honest. So all the time I'm sat here listening to other people, my head's going, "No, you don't want to tell anyone that you didn't want to come here tonight. Just pretend, yeah, I'm all right." You know, because again, that's the lie. Yeah, I'm all right. We always pretend we're all right, aren't we? I just feel like I need to get this out, and this is my safe place. And I'm really grateful that I can come here and share. And you know, like what you described, you know, thanks. It's not just the like, you know, the mental and emotional and spiritual like side of us dying off, but physically as well. And for some of us get to that point and we don't make it here. Or some of us come here, some of us go out in a coffin and don't come back. There's an empty chair there. There's an addict right now who's losing the fight. Somewhere in the world today, there's an addict who's going to die today. How lucky are we to be sat here tonight? How lucky are we to have that 10-point programme in front of us? How lucky are we for that beautiful blue book? How lucky are we for other people sitting up here sharing their experience to help others? How lucky am I to come here and be able to dump all of the crap I'm carrying on you lot tonight and help half the load for me? Yeah, but I knew I didn't want to share, so I knew I had to share. So yeah, thanks for letting me share. Thanks.
My name's Ray. I'm an addict. Oh, it's been a wonderful meeting tonight. I've really enjoyed it. Just like what's been shared, you know, I'd rather be indoors actually. But thanks for your share, Dave. It wasn't on my bucket list to come to the recovery rooms, I can tell you that for sure. But I would have kicked the bucket if I didn't come. And you know, it's great testimony, and you've shown great character, you know, to get through what you've gone through, you know. And what I realised is, you know, you take away the drink, the drugs from someone, they have to start dealing with themselves. Do you know what I mean? It's an inside job. It's from the inside out, you know, inside out. That's how it works around here. And it's about trying to incorporate the interpersonal relationships, which is a tough one. When I was at it, you know, using, someone used to invite me round for Sunday dinner. That was my idea of hell. Absolute hell. That's the last thing I want to do, is go to someone's house and sit there and no, thank you. So, you know, it's about the, you know, it's not about having a drinking problem, it's about having a thinking problem. You know, I'm living with an absolute psychotic psychopath, really, in my mind. Because I thought, is there something wrong with me? I stopped drinking and using, I turned into a right fucking nutcase. I thought there's something seriously wrong with me. And someone said, there is, you're not well. And I was like, I had to admit, you know, surrender's a funny thing, isn't it? Like, you don't wave the white flag when you're on top, when you're winning. You don't surrender. In war, they don't go, oh, fuck that, no, we're finished. Because you've got nowhere else to go, surrender. You know, you have to concede and surrender to the life you was living before. And then you have to learn a whole new life. But there's one thing learning, but you have to unlearn, which is most important. It's all right learning. You know, when I first came in to recovery, I was up to no good for my first 2, 3, 4 years. I was dealing with the Albanians. I was doing dodgy credit cards. I was like having everyone up. I was like conning my neighbours. I tapped up my rich neighbour for 30 grand. I was like tapped up the vicar for like in a wine cellar. I was like, that's like sober. And then the person who was helping me said, Ray, where'd you get all your money from? Where'd you get all your money from? Are you working at the minute? I said, no, I'm not working. So what are you doing, you know? And then I had to be honest, and I had to get rid of all the dishonesty. Because I was clean and sober, but I was living a dishonest life. So I went from driving a nice car to driving a 1996 Vauxhall Corsa with the engine overheating, fed up and pissed off because I had to buy dodgy tobacco from Jim down the road. I've gone from a lavish lifestyle to, you know, but you know what? But I needed to lose it. I was the most happiest. I was the most happiest, because it's not about all that. You know, it's not about the material things. They come and go, mate. Recovery is a dead man's goal. There's no destination. Yeah? My recovery will finish when I'm in a box. But I want to die with this illness, not from it. But thank you.
Yeah, lucky, grateful recovered addict. Just like to say thanks very much for the chair this evening, Dave. It was lovely to hear. It's a different story to mine, but you know, your health conditions, mine. I remember I was having my second heart attack in my 30s, and I come downstairs. I had a beautiful home and all that, because you know I like nice things. And no, what I do is, I've got to have the best. You know what I mean? I have to. And so I had this beautiful home. Come downstairs, and I'm dying across here. I didn't know what it was. I was having a heart attack, but I didn't know that. And I went, gosh, it's terrible, isn't it? And I sat there seriously, and I went, I can't cope with this. I'll roll a joint. So that was my plan. My plan was roll a joint, because I don't know what's going on. I'm having a heart attack. Oh, dear. And it didn't work. I'm thinking, what's going on now? The joint isn't working. And I rang the ambulance, and thank God they was there. I literally lived, I don't know, about 5 minutes from Maidstone Hospital, around the corner. And they was there in a few minutes, and they put me in the back of the ambulance, and they said, you're having a heart attack. And I went, Jesus. And, you know, I was on it daily, bang on it daily, vodka and other drugs as well, varied. And I remember getting to hospital, and they actually sticking more drugs in me in the accident to keep me alive. So they're going, look, we stick the drugs in. I went, yeah, and you have to sign a disclaimer, because there's constant, you know, side effects and all that. And I went, okay. Anyway, they got me in the ICU, and I had a heart attack, and I'd actually had two, but the first one I didn't know, because I'm sitting there, and you know, they said your first one was a minor one. So then I had the second one, and they said, don't worry, we'll send you to St Thomas's Hospital. You've got to go up there in an ambulance, this, that, and the other. And I was really, really lucky. You know, I got sent to St Thomas's, got amazing care from the nurses and doctors. And I got in, I literally jumped the queue. I think it was a mistake, but they sent me in first. I mean, everyone's waiting for a heart operation. I went in first. In the morning, about 6 o'clock, two of us went down to the lift, had this heart surgery. And then afterwards, they're telling me about this, that, and the other. And I remember thinking, give it a rest, mate, will you? No, give it, because the doctor's saying, yeah, we saved your life, you're very young, this shouldn't be happening to you, what's going on? He said, it's alcohol related. And I actually thought to myself, it's not, it's the drugs. I remember thinking, no, he's wrong, the doctor. Like I know, do you know what I mean? But that's my, you know, that's how I am. I got a cab home, I'll never forget, I went, it's all over. It's all over. The 60 fags, the vodka, the drugs, it's all over. And I sat at home, and I've got to be honest, I've never been so bored in my life. And about a week later, I'm in a nightclub, right? And I went, I'm going to drink Diet Coke, not going to smoke, and I had no drugs, so it didn't matter. Do you know what I mean? I'm just going to drink Diet Coke. The Diet Coke very quickly turned to large vodka Diet Coke. I saw a girl smoking. She looked so happy. I went, I'll just buy one packet of fags. And the drugs followed on again later. I didn't get, you know what I mean? And I'm in a nightclub 2 weeks after this, and all my medication says, do not take with drink. Do you know what I mean? And I think if I take it at a separate time, that's enough to separate it. And
Take it with drugs, though, does it?
does it not? No, it don't. You're right, it says it for alcohol. It's been pointed out tonight that alcohol is the biggest drug killer in the UK. I never knew that. You know, you'd think it was something else, but it's alcohol, isn't it? And that wasn't enough to stop me. I'll go again until I have to be, you know, taken out of society, and that was the beginning for me. But I just don't stop. No. That's the thing. And I used to end up just laying on the street. Yeah. Beautiful. I just couldn't get there. Do you know what I mean? And didn't care. Didn't care laying on the street, and thought, oh, hey, dude, you know what I mean? And yeah, just suffering and suffering and suffering. And I come in here and I just dived into this because it's for my life. I come to recovery for my life, not for a laugh. I mean, I love a laugh, but what I'm saying is, for me, it's about, you know, I get to live. Yeah. And that's, you know, how can you repay that? How can you say, hey, go, I'll give you a life, and you go, what's the cost of that? Do you know what I mean? And I like what's been shared tonight. It's about giving back. Yeah, of course. That's what it's about. It's about being here for the newcomer. When I walked into the meetings, there was newcomers. They made a mistake. They said to me, "You're the most important person in the room." And I thought it was me. I didn't realise it was because I was new. And I went, yeah, I know. And I thought, how did they know I'm so important? But anyway, I'll leave it there because of the time. But thanks very much for your share, and I really appreciate it. Thanks. Okay. You may have heard talk of a sponsor this evening. If anyone is prepared to act as a sponsor, please raise your hand. To prove the recovery room's guide to recovery works, will anyone with 50 days of recovery raise your hand? And will anyone with 1 year of continuous sobriety keep your hand up? I'll now hand the meeting over to our literature secretary, Holly, to tell us about the literature.
Hello, I've had such a scatty day today. I've left my book at home, but as you can see, the beautiful blue book at the top there, the Guide to Recovery 10-point programme. Thank you very much, helping others, that's our purpose. This is what we work from, and if you're in your first 100 days and you're new, come and see me after the meeting, please. I will give you a copy of this book and some really helpful, useful leaflets afterwards. And yeah, there's loads of support here, and we can't do this on our own, and we don't have to. Thank you.
Thanks, Holly. I'd like to thank all the people who did service in this meeting this evening, as well as everyone who attended the meeting and made the meeting possible. And finally, thanks to our chair. And finally, I'd just like to end the meeting with our closing reading, which is, please let God, as I understand God, guide me in all and live in the present moment with a heart full of gratitude for all I have. And we hope to see you all again next week. Thanks. Thanks. Lovely. Cheers. Thanks very much. Cheers.